All right, so this video is called The Power of Letting Go of Things You Can't Control. Here's the hook. You're wasting energy on things that aren't yours to fix. Letting go is hard, but here's how it frees you. Okay, so let's talk about letting go. Okay, like what the fuck does that even mean? Attachment. And I made a video about letting go, and the idea that I conveyed is when you hold on to something really tight, whether it's a crush you have or an outcome you want or a goal you're trying to pursue, you create so much pressure that oftentimes you suffocate the very thing you're trying to attain. And in doing so, you stifle it so much that the whole process and the whole experience becomes inundated by this pressure. It becomes affected by this energy. It's too much, right? If you've ever had, let's talk about crushes, right? Because I think this is relatable for some people watching, right? If you've ever crushed on somebody really hard, and you're like, this has to work. Like, I want to go out with this person. This has got to happen on this day, and we're gonna go do this, and it's gonna be amazing. And then the day comes, and for whatever reason, the person cancels. Something comes up, or they back out, whatever it is. Well, fuck. What do we do now? Like, oh, everything's gone to shit. Because there's been an attachment formed. There's been an expectation formed with the hope of seeing that person, with the hope and the story you've created, this fantasy of how this should go and what will happen. And the reality is nothing is in our control, nothing. And how do we mitigate this process? Well, one, it's like you want to have something to shoot for. You want to have a vision, you want to have a goal, but how you attain it, how you go about it, has to be flexible, has to be adaptable. And I'm going to give you a micro example of letting go, things you can't control, right? I'm at the gym today and talking to two guys that I know at the gym, and we're having a good conversation. A third guy comes over who I know, but not as well as these two. And immediately they go and they dap this guy up, and he kind of this new guy blocks me out of the circle. Like his body language blocks me out, and he kind of gives me a fist bump, and I go for a dap, and it's kind of awkward. And then I'm shut out of the group. And if you may have experienced this before, it's like there is this social hierarchy, there's these social games being played. Now, if I really wanted to lean into the 48 laws of power, I could have maintained my frame, I could have asserted my dominance and said something to call this person. I'm just gonna walk away. Like, there's times when you have to just walk away. And it doesn't mean that you want to lose face, but the whole political game, the whole like social dynamic game, I don't care to get to know this guy. I don't care. And clearly it's mutual. And so I'm like, all right, well, this gives me more time to like now leave and go home, because I was trying to go home anyway. And then I ran into these two. And so the point is, you have to decide what kind of game you're trying to play. And the approach that you take towards it should be one of non-attachment. It should be one of a little bit of a flow to it. Now, there are things you can do. There are goals you can work towards that you don't have to deserve. There are things you can do. There are things you can say that will make you good at sales. And regardless of whether or not you were a good person, you will achieve sales. If you continue to eat healthy and you work out consistently, you will gain muscle. It doesn't matter if you're a shitty person or not. That's the game, right? So when we talk about letting go, it's being unattached. And a lot of that has to do with, in my experience, maintaining a state of groundedness, of being unperturbed by these little quips and things that are out of our control. There's these little chaotic bouts. Because I've noticed lately I've been I've taken a bit of a step back, because I've been so focused on building my mission, my purpose, as a man should be. And I noticed there are these games that people play, these like social games where they'll, like I've been baited by people that try to get a reaction out of me. And the crazy thing is, when you're grounded, when you meditate, when you do breath work, when you exercise, work out, when you have a sense of self-esteem and integrity, you are unshaken by these things. And what's beautiful is that you can then move freely through these games people play. And when you have your sights set on a goal, on a mission, on a purpose, you can work towards that and be unthwarted by all these petty distractions. Because the man who is devoid of purpose chases pleasure. When I didn't have a mission, when I didn't have a purpose, just a few months ago, I was chasing the girls. And I was sitting here watching YouTube all day and going on Netflix and playing Nintendo Switch and really just atrophying. But now that I have this tunnel vision, I'm trying to achieve this, I'm doing this, my time is finite and focused, and my priorities are much clearer, it's so much easier to then let go of these petty little things and these petty games people play. So what you need to do is quite a bit here, but I would say the day-to-day, start meditating, start doing breath work, start exercising. Those three things will change your world. You can also add this, and I talk about these things a lot because these are things that compound. Journal. Grab a fucking notebook and start writing this shit. Whenever something comes up, I want you to explore it, right? Like that example I gave you before with that interaction, right? If it's bothering me, which has been coming up for me a couple times today, let's fucking explore it. What is it teaching me more about myself? What is it triggering within me? And then we can get introspective, and then next time something like this comes up, we know how to address it, we know how to handle it, and know that this too is a muscle. Self-awareness is a muscle. Letting go is a muscle. And oftentimes it's relaxing other muscles to truly let go and let things happen the way that they should organically. And so by doing these micro habits every day, they do compound. By having a macro vision and a macro purpose and working towards that thing, your reality will shift. Look up the books Reality Transurfing. You can read Reality Transurfing, 78 Days Reality Transurfing, something like that. It's a shorter version by Vadim Zeland, I believe is his name. You can look it up. And start to manipulate your reality through your thoughts. And you start to see through layers of perception. You start to distinguish and discern between what's worth your time and what's not. And then when you have those priorities, when you have that purpose, and you can really do this in like an hour. And it doesn't have to be perfect. My new kind of ethos is 80-20, right? 80% good, let's just fucking launch it. And like good enough, you have to define what good enough is. And so when you're able to then do this, your energy is no longer wasted. You're no longer being caught up in these petty little games. And while it is difficult and challenging at times, as you continue to work that muscle, it will become easier. So letting go is hard, but this, I hope, has been helpful. It's helpful for me. And so let this free you. Practice this, get back to me, and drop a comment below if you have any questions. See you in the next one. Deuces.